Hello, and welcome back to Restorative Talks with Why Me. I'm your host, Isabelle Gius. In Series 2, we're exploring how restorative justice transforms lives by hearing directly from people who have gone through the process. We discuss some sensitive topics in this podcast, including crime and violence, suicide, and drug and alcohol misuse, so take care while listening. In case you missed it, in the last episode, I spoke to Why Me Ambassador Sheldon about how he approached restorative justice out of a sense of duty for himself and the young person who harmed him, helping him to find meaning in the crime he experienced. In this episode, I'm joined in the studio by Will Gillooly. Being a victim of violent crime changed the trajectory of Will's life completely. We discuss his long and sometimes painful journey of recovery and how restorative justice helped him to see a way out. It's an incredible story.
My name's William Gillooly. I'm a maintenance and mechanical electrical compliance manager and ambassador for Why Me charity as well.
Thank you so much for coming today, Will, and agreeing to share your story. Just to start us off, do you mind telling us a little bit about what your life was like prior to the crime?
I was 21, I was 20. It was near my 21st birthday party in 1992. Just loving life, working, partying, as a 21-year-old does, going raving, clubbing, living life to the max, really, enjoying life.
Yeah, however much you're willing to share, can you talk a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, I was working for a distribution company in Reading, Berkshire in 1992 as a stores/stroke administration officer. My main role was arranging the deliveries of the electrical equipment and arranging finance. The job involved dealing with the financial side of the company as well. So what happened was a considerable amount of money went missing from the company, and the bosses, colleagues, and various other people all thought it was me. And basically, one night, my girlfriend had arranged to borrow some money from the managing director so we could all go out and party that night. And I was convinced to go along with her that night by her. Next thing I knew, the car door was flung open. I was smashed in the face with a metal bar and completely knocked out. From then, I was dragged from the vehicle I was in, into the perpetrator's vehicle, and beaten again with a metal bar and driven off at high speed out of Reading, basically. Again, being questioned, what have you done with the money? Why have you got this? Why have you got that? Where's the money? We want to know where the money is. Well, still being beaten, smashed in the head again with a metal bar. And then car stopped, got dragged out. The other two perpetrators pinned me down. Well, one of them drove over my legs and then basically seen me struggling and then drove back over them and then forward again. And they got spooked and I was put back in the vehicle and then taken to somewhere in Perivale in London. Basically dragged out the car again, beaten, hit over the head several times with the thing. My legs were completely knackered by this time, so I was being forcefully manhandled around the area. And then taken to the side of a canal, CS gassed, smashed over the head and thrown in and left for dead, basically. And managed to get out of the canal a few minutes later after the vehicle had gotten off and basically hid for several hours till daybreak.
Yeah, can you tell us more about what happened next?
I went to hospital. Initially, they thought I had been run over by a car because that's what by the time I realised I needed help, I'd managed to drag myself across the road to a house and knock on the door, and a man and his dog came to the door. There's rumours flying around that a man and a dog found me. No, the man and the dog opened the door, and it was the only thing I could remember at that time was seeing the man and the dog. And basically an ambulance turned up and I heard them say to the police, he's been hit by a car. And I just thought, well, if they want to think I've been hit by a car, let them think I'd hit by a car. Got to hospital, asking me questions. I wasn't talking. I just closed up. Didn't want to. I think it was my choice not giving my name because I had fear because I'd just gone through something it was mind-blowing. I didn't have a clue what it was all about at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want people to know, because in case they were going to grab me out of the hospital and finish me off, what they should have done. But no, eventually, after about 2.5 days of being in hospital, they searched my property, and they found a telephone number. And as soon as they rung that number, it sort of triggered a lot of, because the police had been looking for me in Reading for 2.5 days, but I was sat in hospital with thinking the Metropolitan Police thinking I'd been hit by a car. But as soon as they made that call, it all come to light. I'd been kidnapped and I was missing, basically. Got out of hospital. Well, after being taken to Reading Police Station to be given a statement and give that over. And the perpetrators were captured, I think, 2-3 weeks after the actual incident. But initially, I wasn't being treated as a victim. I was actually the perpetrator. But after certain questioning and sort of several hours of questioning, the police realised that I wasn't the perpetrator. I was actually the victim of this crime and had nothing to do with what was being said. But yeah, injuries I had was severe trauma to the legs, head, broken ribs, fractured arm, fractured elbow, and 5 head injuries and a broken nose. And that took about 6-7 months to heal, basically.
And what was going through your head at this time?
There was lots of things flying through your head. One of them was, what's going on here? Why me? What are they asking? What was questions about the money I didn't know nothing about. They were just asking me questions, and then they wanted my family's phone numbers and various other bits and pieces, so they could, if I was lying, they got somewhere they could go and basically.
This was during the attack.
Yeah. During the attack, they were asking me for telephone numbers and addresses of family and who was involved and various other questions, that mainly where the money was. But when you look at, like, in 92, £100,000 today is £1 million.
And what was your experience going through the formal court process? At
the beginning, when it all started as I just said, like, I was treated as the perpetrator from being picked up in the hospital, and that was like an hour and a half of my life that I'll never forget, because it was constant questioning under duress after coming out with head injuries, broken nose, arms, ribs. You imagine the pain, and you were getting, where is it? Come on. He's a policeman, question me now, in the back of a car unofficially, with a lot of questions, and by the time we got to Reading, it was a case of he would have broke by now if, being kidnapped, beaten, tortured, now having an hour and a half with them. If you had taken the money, I'm sure I'd have said something at the time. Yeah, it was me, but it wasn't. But yeah, I've gone through my head. Why me? At that early stage, it was just what was going on. It was just what had I lived through. It was just totally mind blowing, and that's where I lost a trust in a lot of people from that day. My whole life changed dramatically from that day onwards. I just disassociated myself with a lot of people because I didn't trust anybody. Even to this day, it takes a lot of trust. For me to trust people, it takes a lot. But after the initial court case, there was no support or anything for me. After a lot of we can do this, we can do that. The support up to the court case was brilliant from the police. We can give you relocation, not a full relocation package, but if you want to move anywhere in the country, we'll contact that police authority and let them know you're living in the area, and if there's anything to happen to you, the first thing that they would do was actually go contact our perpetrator or associations with that perpetrator. But then it's a bit difficult going back sometimes.
Of course,
it's sort of a bit of a mixture of emotions at the moment. After the court case, it was a case of getting on with your life, basically. Pat on the back, thank you for giving evidence. We've got the tick in the box. We've got your perpetrator. He's got to go away for 2 years. But what about me? Where did I end up? I'll tell you where I ended up: on the streets, homeless, drug addict, alcoholic, trying to block out everything that happened in them 6-7 hours of that night. That went on for about 6-7 months. Where I was living around the Embankment, Blackfriars, and I was getting involved in, like other people of the night, basically, like other homeless people, like from their backgrounds. You had army there, you had certain other people with issues. We're all talking about life as such, but unless I decided it was a case of like, I didn't want to do this anymore. I was drinking, I was doing drugs, I was in a dark, very, very dark place, and all I was trying to do was block that night out. But I eventually picked myself up after a number of months and got a little job, basically. But all that job was doing was funding the drinking drugs, because all that drinking drugs was doing was blocking out the memory of that night. It's like I was wearing a mask, I was picking the mask up, going out the front door and putting it on, and then at night I was coming back, taking the mask off and just sitting there and, why me? Why do people think it was me? It did this. Why have they ruined my life? Because it's very traumatic. The flashbacks, nightmares. Even to this day, I still have like nightmares and flashbacks. It doesn't matter what time, it could snap anyway. Anxiety I suffer from, and PTSD was the biggest outcome of it as well.
It sounds like the crime impacted all aspects of your life.
Well, yeah, because I disassociated myself with my family for about 7 years. Because in my head, he had my sister's numbers, he had my parents' address. If I was to contact them or go anywhere near them, I just had this fear that he was going to come and get them, basically. Because he said he was, we've now got your name, numbers, family and all that. Go to the police. This is what's going to happen. When you're getting smashed on the head 4 or 5 times, that sort of tends to stick in there and stick in there for a while. I think it was a total of 7 years where I call my dark period, where I was like not working, homeless, just living life to block out what happened. But then sort of things, about 97, 98, things started to settle down because I'd found out the perpetrator had gone to prison for life, basically. He got a life sentence in 94, and I'd found out in 97, and I was told that he would never come out of prison. If he did, he would be in a box. And that was, well, hey, I can live my life now. But I didn't. It never changed. I'd still stayed the same way I was. But the only thing I was doing differently was I was actually, rather than being a permanent place, I was moving around the country for work, because I'd found a job with a construction company who were sort of like tasking me like, oh, you're going to be here for 2 years, then you're going to be there for 4 years, then you're going to be there for 3 years. And I just used that. I never established myself anywhere long term, and was happily enjoying life up until about 2015, when all of a sudden the Panorama program came on TV, and lo and behold, my perpetrator's face popped up, and it was like someone flipping a light switch at night. And everything from the 92 came flooding back, literally. And the first thing I'd done was grab the bottle. And then what I found was, after a while, I was starting to go back down that road, because the brain was working over what he's out. He's going to come and get you. He knows people. He's going to get you. He's going to run you over. He's going to wait till you cross that road and run you over again and make sure he gets your head this time. I don't know. It's just stuff that was going through my head. And I thought, no. I'm not doing this. And I was finding, rather than 1 glass of wine a night, it was 2 bottles of wine a night, from 1 glass to 2 bottles. And I was thinking, oh, next I'll be on the drugs again. Thought about it. I'm not going to deny it. I did think about it, because that was the best blocker. But I thought, no. And then in 2019, it was the case of like, I need to get therapy. I need to get help. And the first route I took was like victim support. And they actually told me of restorative justice. But then the therapist also mentioned restorative justice as well. And I thought, I'll have a look at that. And I think it was the best thing I'd ever done that day, was make that call. Well, not actually. It was the best day was when I actually received a call from restorative justice. That was the day it sort of like, someone's actually listening to me. I could do something about this. But what could I do? I didn't know at the time, but it's life-changing. What restorative justice has, I wouldn't say has done for me. It's not a case of what it's done, it's what it has done for me as an individual.
And in that time between the crime and your first restorative justice meeting, that like 30-year period, how did you feel, and how are you coping, and what support did you need?
Well, I didn't get any support up until 2019, and it's just coming in floods because there was nothing available at the time. For it probably was, but it wasn't offered. But it was nothing afterwards. It was like, give your evidence, and it was no walking out of the court or can you come back and see us next week. It was just like, get on with your life. But where was I going? I was going, no. I knew where my perpetrator was going. He was going to prison. He was going to get a roof over his head and 3 meals a day. Where was I going? Embankment, beg for my meals and money and drink and whatever. You know, and I just didn't understand why he's got that, not luxury, but I ended up with that. Why wasn't I given some kind of support in aftercare as such? Why did I have to sort of find it 30 odd years later? You know, it's got to change. Someone's got to change. You know, I mean, like, people listening to this now will probably think, oh, hold on. I was affected by a crime 30 years ago, and I'm the same. I've got nothing, but they're still sat there affected by that crime. And there is help out there.
So when you first heard about restorative justice, first from victim support and then from your therapist, how did you feel, and what made you want to take part?
Well, I looked into it first because I didn't know what it was. I didn't have a clue. I knew what restorative meant and I knew what justice meant, but when you put them two together, it's a totally different meaning. I think, oh, yeah, I could do this. This is what I want. This is something that I want to do. And as the process went on, it was a case of, like, initially it was a telephone interview with Martin, and it was a face-to-face. But it wasn't a case of a face-to-face where the meeting starts at 1 o'clock and finishes at 2. The meeting starts at 1 o'clock and it'll finish when we're ready to finish. But the meeting went on for about 3.5 hours. And it was like, he wanted to know everything. And at the end of it, the main question was, are you sure you want to do this? I said, yeah, I do. Because if I don't, then I'm going to end up, well, I wouldn't be sat here today. I would end up attempting to take my life like I did in 93 and 92. Because it got to a stage where I did have a couple of suicide attempts, you know, I mean, silly ones, like not enough paracetamol and the wrong day to sit on a motorway bridge when it's closed. I don't know. It's just stuff. It was at the time where I needed help, and the only help I could get was through this restorative justice, just to get rid of all the nightmares and put things to right. Because I was actually receiving therapy, and I was diagnosed with severe PTSD in 2021. But up until then, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I knew I had something wrong mentally, but I just put it down to the incident and nightmares and stuff like that.
And so after that first face-to-face meeting, that 3.5 hour long meeting, how did you feel?
I felt absolutely amazing. I could actually sit there and talk to someone for the first time, other than my therapist in 30 years, and tell him how I was feeling and what cure I needed. And, you know, basically, I was hearing the therapist said it works. Martin said it could work. That's what Martin said. He goes, potentially it could work or it couldn't work. It's not luck of the draw, but it's just like how we interact at the actual meetings and what's been said.
Can you talk a little bit about the preparation before the restorative justice meeting and what that looked like?
Yeah, it was, as I say, there was the several meetings. It wasn't a case of, like, you know, one meeting and it's arranged. It was like, no, it was quite a few. I think we had a total of about 5 meetings with me. And then when you flip back, look at the perpetrator side as well, there was 5 meetings with them. And then eventually got to the face-to-face. And then it was a date everybody agreed that we would meet on. Because I think my perpetrator wasn't available due to probation reasons. But then he was, because his probation officer came along with him on the meeting as well. But the preparation up to it and before, it was a lot of meetings, a lot of telephone calls, a couple of face-to-face with Martin, and then we had the big meeting itself. But the run-up to it, I think 2 or 3 days beforehand, that's when I started getting, am I doing the right thing? Yeah, I'm doing the right thing. What are you going to ask him? Well, let's list the questions. And it didn't matter what I wrote down, it was just one question that I could ask him, and I just wanted an answer to. The run up to it, a couple of sleepless nights, a lot of tossing and turning, a lot of thinking. Do I really want to do this? But if I didn't, then I'll be asking the same question next week, next month, next year. Why didn't I do it? So I had to do it. Just to sit in front of that person and ask him one question: why me? And that I did. That's what I asked him. There is a process where you do your introductions, and then it's a case of was handed to me, and the facilitator, is there anything you want to ask the perpetrator? I went, there is one question. That's why me. And as soon as I answered that, as soon as I asked that question, and the response, it was just like, to hear him say, "I'm sorry, I got it wrong," was just literally, it was. I've said to people, it's like when you shake a bottle of Coke and you open it and it sprays out everywhere. That was the feeling I had, because I was emotional, tears running down my face. I felt physically sick. But when just to hear that coming out that man's mouth, that he got it wrong and he's sorry, and just to see the remorse, from that individual was just mind blowing. But I couldn't believe it. After 30 odd years, you're saying sorry and you got it wrong. And if there's anything that could be done to change, what can I do? And I was just gobsmacked. I couldn't say anything. I was too busy. I was emotional. I was just thinking, the whole relief of it was just unbelievable. And, as I say, it's like shaking a bottle of, champagne after you're on the podium, when you're winning that first prize, and you're shaking it and you're spraying it everywhere. That's the way I felt that day, that afternoon. It was just so much of a relief. We had a little chat. He explained what he explained to me, how the circumstances come around, why he did what he did to me, and he was apologetic again. So we said a few bits and pieces. But after the process, we had a cup of tea and a couple of biscuits. But he turned around and he goes, "Do you want to come for a coffee?" I thought, hold on a minute. 30 years ago, you tried to kill me. Now you want to take me for a coffee, or you going to throw me under a bus? But no, I thought, yeah, let's go for a coffee. Let's go and have it. And as soon as we got to the coffee, he was apologising again. He goes, "I got it so." He goes, "I got it wrong. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Just got it so wrong." But I said to him, but how do you feel? How do you think I feel? 30 years I've been waiting for this. He said, "Well, it's just, we're together now. Let's stay friends. Let's talk. Let's move on." And the thing about it is we have got a bond for that reason. It was life-changing for me, because for 30 years I had this thing in my head that this man was out to kill me. And the only way I could stop that was by meeting him. It's really hard I can't express and can't say. Until you've done it, you don't know what the feeling is. But my life changed that day. Within that hour of that meeting finishing, my life has changed. I had the confidence to get in a car. I had the confidence to stand in a queue with other people behind me, in front of me. Before, I never used to do that. I used to order online, never go shopping, never go out. But now I've got the confidence to get out. And it was all down to RJ, because if they didn't bring us together, I would still have that feeling of he's still out to get me, and he hurt me, and he still wants to hurt me. And the only way to resolve it is face him. ask him directly.
And what you mentioned that you went to therapy and counseling. What did restorative justice do for you that those ways of support didn't?
Well, it was a therapist. It was a therapist that actually mentioned victim support and restorative justice. I think if I didn't have the therapy, I wouldn't have known about restorative justice. It's a hidden charity. You don't know until you start looking for it. You don't know it's out there. You know, I mean, it's not advertised. It's not like you go down the London Underground. There's RJ posters. It's nothing. It's other victims of crimes charities, but nothing about RJ other than what was the billboards out earlier this year. There's nothing out there for restorative justice. Nothing out there to tell people, you know, I mean, there is help. After it doesn't matter if it was last week, 5 years ago, 50 years ago, 30 years ago, there is still help out there for you. And I'm sure like it flips on both sides. If a perpetrator wants to contact the victim, RJ will do it for you. If the victim wants to contact the perpetrator, RJ is there for you. So it's not just one way. It's sort of like it can come both ways. If you're not unfortunate enough to meet your perpetrator, there is that letter that you can write to your perpetrator or perpetrators to tell them how you're feeling and what impact it has had on your life. Even just writing that letter is a peace of mind because you've gone through the process. So I've gone through the process, and you know, it's totally life changing for me. That's why I wanted to become an ambassador for the charity, basically, to, you know, get the word out there. You know, there is help for people. Stop locking yourselves up. Stop staring down that bottle. You know, get help. It's out there. You just need to get it, find it, Google it.
And do you feel like you've kind of been able to take off that mask that you had?
I've chucked it away.
Yeah.
I chucked it away within a day of my restorative justice. I don't even know where it is. I used to sort of like have an imaginary, you know, thing. It's like washing my face in the morning. You know, and it's not a case of just washing it. It'll be several washes, trying to wash away, you know, the past. But it doesn't. But I can safely say now, like, you know, if it wasn't for restorative justice, I don't think I'd be sat here today, because I was channeling back to 90, 92, 93, 94, which was very, very dark for me. You know, that was the whole point of me leaving my hometown originally, was to better myself, you know, because I grew up being bullied, black National Health glasses, ginger hair, freckles. You imagine just to get bullied for all your life, and then you think, well, I'm not going to hang around my hometown just to get bullied into my adult life. I'm going to go to London, where the streets are paved with gold. I didn't end up in London. I ended up in Reading. But I thought I would have a good job. You know, you get yourself a nice job, then you get another job to better yourself. But that job, the second job to better myself, turned out to be the biggest change in my career, in my life, basically. You know, with the kidnapping and torture and false accusations of what I was done. But, you know, like, flash forward in 30 years, I wish I had the opportunity of restorative justice in 94, not in 2002, because I think I would probably feel a lot better in myself, and my perpetrator would feel a lot better in himself, knowing that he got it wrong, and it would have been my life would have been different.
Yeah, what would you say to other people who have maybe been a victim of a crime 10, 20, 30 years in the past?
If there is anybody out there listening to this, have a think, seriously think about it, make contact, because it will be life-changing. I'd strongly recommend going for it.
And how did restorative justice, do you feel that you were more open with people in your life about what you had been through? How did it change your sort of interpersonal relationships?
Probably people listening to this will probably get fed up. Oh, he's not going on about his kidnapping again. But go back 5 years ago, I can talk about it. I can sit here and physically talk about it without bursting into tears and getting emotional. But 5 years on, after therapy, RJ, I talk about it. I talked about it to complete strangers, because I want them to know. because that's what I've done. I've just kept it 30 years bottled up. No one knowing. Now I want everybody to know. Hence doing podcasts, doing TV documentaries. It's going to be coming up shortly as well. So, I want people to know about it. There is help out there. And, using me as a case study, restorative justice works. And anybody can come and knock on my door and say, no, it doesn't. Then there must be a reason why it doesn't. But for me, it does work. And, anybody sat at home thinking, how do I do this? What do I do? It's power of Google. Just have to put why me in. That's what I did. And it's amazing what pops up.
And I think part of the reason your story is so powerful is because we hear a lot about, restorative justice can work for minor crimes, but, for things that are more serious, it's just not possible. What would you say to that?
People are probably listening and thinking, why would I want to meet the bloke that tried to kill me all them years ago? I want to know why he wanted to kill me. Would you not? If someone wanted to kill you 30 years ago and you had the opportunity to meet them, what would your first question would be? Why did you want to kill me? Because that's the way I look at it. But I used the terminology, why me? Because that was one of my questions. Why do you want to kill me? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? But at the end of the day, I just got to question 20 and it was, why me? And then when you look at all the other questions, just one question, why me? You can ask it just not once, twice. Why me? Why me? And I hope that they listen to this and think, that's me. I need to do this. We'll help you. You have got a voice. Get onto restorative justice. Get the help and support you need. Stop just sitting there, staring at the wall, staring down that bottle, or any drugs that people are doing out there. Get help. It's out there. And to top all, everybody I've met within the YB charities are absolutely amazing and beautiful people, and they care.
No, thank you so much, Will, for sharing your story.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Will maintains that he would not be alive today if it wasn't for his restorative justice meeting. He is active on podcasts, documentaries, and other media sharing his journey. Check the links in the description to hear more from Will. Thank you to Will for sharing your story, and thank you for listening to Restorative Talks with Why Me. This is the last episode of Series 2. Keep an eye out for more Why Me podcasts in the future, including a special edition that's part of our Heritage Project, capturing the history of restorative justice over the past 20 years. Let us know what you'd like to see in the next series. If you want to find out more about restorative justice, or if you'd like to donate to help us support people affected by crime, visit our website, which is linked in the description. You can also support us by rating, downloading, and sharing this podcast, which really helps us as an organization. Join the conversation by following us on social media. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at @WhyMeUK. If you or someone you know has been affected by crime and is interested in accessing restorative justice, we would love to hear from you. You can get in touch by emailing info@y-me.org. Full details in the description. Thanks for listening.